Welcome back to another episode of Peeping Ballers. This is the UEFA Champions League preview edition. Gentlemen, we are in the quarterfinals, and it's pretty important because we actually have a few Korean players who are playing deep into this year's competition. Let's break down some of the matches here. Might as well start off with our Wonder Kid in Paris. PSG will face off against Aston Villa in one of those quarterfinals. When I look at this from a neutral perspective, Paul, I know that you're the PSG fan here. I think PSG should take this game, but Emery always kind of has a bag of tricks up his sleeve, especially in European competition. But I'm still expecting PSG to go through comfortably in this tie.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus with how things are shaping up. But I don't think they're a team that you can take lightly. They do have some weapons there. They picked up Rashford, they picked up Asensio, more importantly, not more importantly, but a former PSG player. So I'm not sure if there's a little bit of a battle there, a little bit of a derby with the Marco Asensio. So that's interesting for the dynamic. But yeah, they definitely have some dangerous players. So it's not something they can take lightly. PSG just struggled against Dunkirk, which is like a third division French team. They were down 2-0 in the French Cup there, the semifinal. So they weren't looking great. So you never know. I mean, even though they have been playing really well as of late, they can still struggle here and there. So we'll still have to play it out.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to watch that tie. I think there's a lot of attacking talent in both sides. I think it could be really fun to watch end to end. And I don't think it's going to be one of those things that's decided in the first leg. I think you guys are going to be going the full 180 and keeping it close both ways because I think Aston Villa are good. And you're absolutely right. Unai Emery could pull this off for sure.
Villa started the year kind of squarely in the top four position, and they tailed off a bit, but they're still only 4 points behind Chelsea right now as of today's recording, so they're still in it. And honestly, Emery could really pull a fast one here because everyone is expecting PSG to go through. But I want to talk about just our guy Eang, Paul. Obviously, not going through a good time right now. He's currently injured after getting hurt on international duty. I mean, it seems like the kid should be okay in about a week or two, but even if he's healthy, I don't really see him playing a big role in this tie just because he's kind of been surpassed by other guys on the depth chart.
Kvara came in and Due has been stepping it up, pretty much kind of just limiting his role to, 60th minute sub at the earliest. As of late, he's been coming on 70th, extra time against Liverpool. It's unfortunate that he's injured now and at least not playing in these lesser matches like the French Cup matches and some of these League One matches that he could be playing and starting in, getting some time and kind of upping his play. But it's just timing-wise not good that he got injured and he's not able to utilize these opportunities to play. And now he'll probably be back, I'm assuming, for Champions League. I think, Luis Enrique always likes to go in with a full squad. Eang is a play profile that, I don't think they have too much of at PSG, so you never know when he might be needed. Still think there's a good chance he can get a good amount of minutes. I just don't think he's going to be starting, though.
It's just, he's in a squad where the wealth of, depth is incredible. PSG can spend money on most players that they want and even players that they don't need. If they'd like that player in the squad, they have the means to buy him. So it's really hard. The depth that you guys have on offer is incredible, and it's very different to Arsenal. So I'm envious of it. Arsenal does not have depth, so I'm very much envious of your situation where, if one guy goes down, there's 2 to 3 guys waiting to be replaced in the squad for him. So, yeah, that's something that Arsenal
the
don't
crazy
have.
thing is, Kvara's main position is left wing, and Bradley Barcola has been playing that pretty much all year, and he's been having just a crazy year. He had a pretty good year his first year at PSG last year, but he's really exploded and came onto the scene this year. The fact they picked up Kvara when they already had Bradley Barcola, like you were saying, just the option to do so because he was available, just to add more depth to that mix in the attack, it just allows PSG to rotate, unlike any other team I think left in the Champions League. I mean, you look at Albert's team, Bayern right now; they're just, a hospital on wheels right now. And it just seems like they're running out of players, basically, not even being able to rotate Min-jae out, who's been battling, multiple things right now. It's sad to see, but if we go back to our topic here with PSG, they have so much depth at almost every position that even with like Eang getting injured, or let's say Barcola gets injured, or Doué gets injured, they have so much depth and firepower that they can back that up with, that there won't be much of a dent. So that I really like their chances going deep in this tournament because of their depth, to be honest.
PSG have been on a roll since they took out Liverpool on penalties, and I respect Emery and what he's done, but I think ironically the fact that the first leg is going to be in Paris could play into PSG's favor, because if they put up enough goals in that first leg, it might not matter how well Aston Villa play in the return leg back in England, because, I mean, let's be honest, this Aston Villa team isn't going to be able to match PSG's firepower, so their best bet is to kind of bunker down and keep it to 1 or 2 goals by the time they come back for the second leg. But the way PSG is going right now, man, just the way they've been scoring, I think they scored 4 goals in their last game. I know they gave up 2 against Dunkirk, but they scored 6 against Saint Etienne and then 3 against Marseille. So I got like PSG winning 2-3-0 in the first one, and then maybe like a 1-0 or 0-0 draw in the away leg, and they qualify comfortably to the semis.
The one issue that they do have is that their captain Marquinhos is out for the first leg on yellow card accrual, so it's they have to play most likely Lucas Beraldo in the center back spot. He's really good on the ball, like offensively, but defensively he's a bit slow and can get taken advantage of a bit there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aston scores maybe once, maybe twice, but I do believe, like you were saying, the tear that like Dembele's been on, that Doué and Barcola and Guevara have been on, I think they put at least 4 up. So my prediction for that would be like a 4-2-ish or 4-1 in the first leg. That's kind of how I see that one going. And then, like you were saying, the return match, PSG would probably play a little more conservative and maybe like a 1-1 or eke out a 1-0, something like that, where they can move on.
I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say that, Asensio, Rashford, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, they can keep up with the firepower that PSG's got. And maybe, it could be like a 2-1, 3-2, where Aston Villa very much feels like they're into it for the second leg, but then that heartbreaking kind of loss again for them at home, and PSG gets it done on the road. But yeah, I'm actually confident in Aston Villa's ability to keep up with this. I think they have got a lot of really good attacking talent. And I've been really impressed with how Rashford's hit the ground running and like put that chapter of his Man United career behind him that's kind of been really disappointing for him, and just sort of focused on work and got back to it.
But we all have PSG going through, though, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. At the end of the day, they go through.
Yeah. And if they go through, they're going to play the winner of the Arsenal-Real Madrid tie. Ooh. And Mike, resident Arsenal fan here. Listen, man, I mean, we just got the news today that I think Gabriel's out for the rest of the year. That's another huge blow. On the bright side, Bukayo Saka is back, although it might take some time for him to, get back to his best. I mean, I have my own thoughts about this that I'll say later, but like, Mike, like, are you optimistic, or like where are you with this? Because I think conventional wisdom would say that Arsenal don't really stand much of a chance in this leg.
I would say I was optimistic like a week ago, before Gabriel got injured. It was a non-contact injury yesterday. On Tuesday, he was just running, pulled up lame, knew he couldn't run anymore. Like, he was a really quick, like, get me off of here, right? So when you see that happen with a player, he's going to be out for a while. He's not going to be coming back for this next match. So he's done for the season. Like, that's a big blow. Saliba is really good, and hopefully he can compete and just like kind of hold Kewer in the match. But this is the biggest match of Jakub Kiwior's life. This is the most pressure he's going to be coming under. So it's hard to be optimistic. I am happy that Bukayo Saka is back, but it's still a struggle for Arsenal to score goals. And they'll need to. So, yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that we're into it in the match, like when we go to Madrid, but I'm not optimistic. I think it could be very, very difficult.
That's funny, because I'm pretty optimistic now. After watching how Real Madrid has been playing, and then their most recent match against Sociedad in the Copa del Rey, they were looking super leaky on the defensive side, to be honest, against the Sociedad side that isn't really that, minus maybe Takekubo as far as like offensive firepower. I don't think they have it. And I feel like Arsenal could take advantage of that, especially like on set pieces. And the first leg being at home, I think they can at least take it to them and then kind of maybe eke out a 1-0, 2-1 type of win, and then we'll see what happens at Real. But I think they have a really good shot at winning that first leg, to be honest. That's at least how I see it going. I don't think Real Madrid is playing great ball at the moment. Vinny looked horrendous against Sociedad, and Mbappe is coming back into form a bit, but I still feel like as a team they're still looking a little disjointed, disconnected. When they're not on their game, they can be taken advantage of, and I think Arsenal has the tools and has at least the setup on set pieces and corners and stuff like that to score on them. I see that first leg going Arsenal's way, whether it's 1-0 or 2-1, it'll be something like that. The second leg, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. They got the dark magic, they got the dark arts over there at Real Madrid. But the first leg, I do see it going your guys' way. At least that's my prediction for that one.
That makes me feel
I'm
better.
not just saying it just for you, Mike. I'm really saying it. Even if you weren't here, I'd be predicting the same prediction. I don't know how.
I'm not sure. I feel like you're saying it for me, but I'll trust you on that.
They look terrible against Sociedad, man.
The thing, though, is that the defense is going to be a problem because
it will.
Gabriel Magalhaes, and then also Jurrien Timber. Also, he's a concern as well. Ben White is not fully fit, so who's going to play right back? It's just like it's a wait and see type of game where I'm like, what's the defense going to look like? Who are we going to have to play? Like, are we going to have to use Kieran Tierney at right back? Are we going to have to play Jakob Kiewicz at right back and put one of the other guys in at center back? Like, what are we going to do? Because, we're just the injuries are a real problem, and it's also it's a self-inflicted problem. Like, you could buy more depth if you wanted to, but we just didn't. So when one or two of your guys are injured at a specific position, you have no more. Like, it's bad squad planning.
Let's say Arsenal do lose this this fixture, but they lose like in a way that's embarrassing, right? I'm talking like getting blown out of the Bernabeu, and then just crashing out of the Champions League and basically going trophyless. Is this Arteta's last stand, really? Because this is basically the only trophy you can win now, right?
Yeah, I would say it is his last stand. I think that he would want to win this and like he needs to. I think that his job should be in danger, but it doesn't really feel like his job is. It feels like this, Arsenal management regime, like they are really behind him. They gave him really big input into hiring their new sporting director, Andrea Berta. He was very much involved in that process and was the guy that was like, I want to work with him. So that doesn't really like seem like a team that wants to fire him, but really he should win this. He really needs to, because it's been 5 years now since we've won a regular season trophy. He's got one regular season cup, just an FA Cup title to his name. We've been knocking on the door for second place in the league 3 years running now, which is very frustrating. And then also, you got to come back to his decisions transfer-wise. He makes these decisions, a lot of them. He's influencing them, and he's building a squad this way where he's just like, I'm going to have 15 players or 16, 17, 18 players that I'm going to use across a season with a bunch of fixtures where injuries happen. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense, and it's really frustrating because we lost 3 different starting forwards towards the second half of the season, and we didn't replace them, any of them. And we had the opportunity to do so. So it's just very puzzling. He very much could win this, and this would be a crowning achievement of his. Like, he'd be a mastermind for pulling this off and beating Real Madrid, and then probably having to go through PSG, and then in the final, Barcelona. Like, he'd be a mastermind to win this title, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't.
Yeah, I think even if he beats Madrid, though, but then let's say they go to the next round and they get knocked out by someone else, it's the same old story, right? Because at the end of the day, you're still not left with any silverware. And the fact that they're playing Mikel Merino as the striker is just crazy to me. Like, you didn't plan enough to have even like a decent 9 on the bench, especially with like club schedules getting so crazy nowadays. It really is an indictment on their squad planning, like you said, Mike. And I mean, he's been there enough now to the point where it's like you have to have something to show for it. And I mean, I do agree with you. I don't know if the Arsenal ownership will fire him necessarily, but I definitely think he would deserve to get fired if especially they lost in dramatic fashion. But the thing with Madrid, like, to kind of focus on them a bit, is they haven't been playing well in recent games for sure, but they've still been getting results, man. They're still in it in La Liga. They're playing in the Copa del Rey final. They're going deep in the Champions League. So For me, like, Madrid do this every year, man. Like, they want Ancelotti fired. They're not happy with the way they play, and yet still, at the end of the day, they're somehow in the race right there. And when you expect them to die, like, I honestly, I hate to say this, I could like even see Arsenal getting out to 2-3 goal lead, in the like the last tie, and then Madrid just coming back out of nowhere because it's what they do. So, I mean, the fact that the first leg is in England does help a bit. But again, the danger with that is if you really have a bad first leg, then it's pretty much over once you're going back to the Bernabeu. So I think I would say that I still think Madrid's going to win that first leg. I think it'll be a close game, maybe like a 2-1. And then once you go back to Spain, no offense, I think that's when kind of the house of cards will fall for Arsenal. And I think Madrid will win comfortably, maybe by a score of like 3-0 or 3-1.
EJ, tell me your prediction. Make me feel real happy.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I'm sticking with that with Arsenal. I think taking the first leg probably 2-1. I'm gonna say is gonna be my prediction, and then going back to the Bernabeu, that one's hard to predict. Again, I always feel like Real Madrid has that something that those dark arts, the dark magic that everyone talks about when they go home in that second leg, and they're down a couple goals with 10 minutes to go, and somehow they find a way. It'd be exciting for it to go to extra time, maybe penalties and stuff like that, to see that. But for certain, at least I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is on leg one. I think Arsenal taking that.
Yeah, I'm gonna refrain from making a prediction. I'm just gonna hope that we can stay in the top.
Coward.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say we're gonna lose, but I don't want to say we're gonna win. I'll hope we do good.
I think Saka being back is a huge plus. It takes a lot of pressure off of Odegaard, I think, from the playmaking standpoint. As long as he's somewhat healthy, I mean, I think he scored on his first game back already, so
yeah, easy header.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
and that's the one thing I think Arsenal does have hope with. If Saka is on his game, I think Madrid have been either using Camavinga or Fran Garcia as their left back, and let's be honest, neither of those guys are good enough to defend against somebody like Bukayo Saka. So, if the game plan is give the ball to Saka and get out of the way, I think Madrid could crumble in that sense, but I don't know also, since this is probably going to extra time if it's tied, right? Like, can Saka last a full 120 as well to stay on the pitch and give Arsenal what they need? He probably can't, right, Mike? So I want to see this to go to extra time. Like, I want to see Madrid pressured. So, like, even if you took this to penalties, or I think it'd be a great accomplishment for Arsenal.
Being Arsenal and keeping up with Real Madrid in a Champions League quarterfinal tie will be a big accomplishment for them, and we'll just see how they do. I would say that Saka can probably play 60 minutes in the first leg, like maybe he'll get subbed off mid-second half, and maybe he'll try to be able to play the full 90 of the second leg. It's miraculous timing that he's even back at this point. I wasn't expecting him to, feature much till maybe like the last couple matches of the season where it just didn't really mean much, right? So it's good that he's going to be back for meaningful matches. That's a really, really good sign for the trainers and the work they did to help him.
Barcelona versus Dortmund. First leg is going to be in Spain. Again, Dortmund, last year's Champions League finalists, probably should have won that game if they finished their chances. A lot different this year. Dortmund struggling in the Bundesliga, recently sacked their coach. They're sitting actually in 10th right now as we record today. It is the Champions League, guys, and we do see teams that are not doing well in their domestic leagues, sometimes go far. But with the way Barcelona's playing, guys, my God, like they look like a runaway freight train. It looks like Dortmund's just one of those teams that are just going to stand in their way when the train hits.
Yeah, this is going to be an annihilation. It's not going to be pretty. I talk about, as a biased PSG fan, how informed they are, but if any other team is as informed or if not better than PSG right now as far as their form goes, it's Barcelona. They are playing really, really good ball. They have a lot of guys scoring. It's not just the guys you would think, like Ferran Torres has been on a tear. Like, Rafinha's player of the year candidate. Lewandowski's still scoring left and right. Yamal is coming into his own. Pedri's getting healthy. They got Gavi back. They're deep too. They have a deep, deep squad with a lot of firepower, and Dortmund is not going to be able to match it. I'm sorry. It's going to be a runaway.
Bro, they got 82 goals in 29 league matches.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I see them putting up at least 3 at minimum. Probably more like 4 to 5. And Dortmund might get like 1 because, Barca plays such a high line here and there. And as far as and Albert knows all about high lines. We haven't talked about, Kim Min-jae and Bayern too much yet, but, you get burned on that high line. So I can see them scoring a goal or 2, but it's not going to matter because Barca's going to score at least 4 or 5. So it's not going to be pretty. I think the second leg is not going to matter. and this is probably the one matchup where it's almost like, see you later.
Dude, the list of names you rattled off for Barcelona, like, that's wild.
It's crazy.
This like their depth is scary offensively. Like you forget about Gavi, you forget about Ferran Torres sometimes. Pedri, like I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And Dortmund's like, this is not a good Dortmund team right now. I don't think they'll have any chance to compete. Like Barcelona is just too good.
And keep in mind, Hansi Flick knows Dortmund very well from his time in the Bundesliga, so he will know how to attack this team. But again, the one hope that Dortmund do have is, like Paul said, Barca do play an insanely high line, so there are opportunities to catch him out. And if you have your goalie, I think Kobel is one of the one who's playing these days, gives you like a superhero performance, maybe you could sneak through. But yeah, I can't see this going any other way. I think, like Paul said, Barca's going to put up at least 3 or 4 in the first leg, and then by the time you go back to Germany, it's moot at that point. Barca going through, right? Unanimous, I would say.
Yes.
All right, cool. Then let's go to the last game. Most interesting one. Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. Now, before this fixture occurs, Bayern has been hit with a rash of injuries. Upamecano, Davies, Hiroki Ito all out for the rest of the year, pretty much decimating Bayern's backline. And more importantly, Min-jae, the South Korean center back, he's been dealing with an Achilles tendon injury for the entire season. That's kind of flaring up and now again. But there was reports out of Germany saying that in the last Bundesliga game, he was also dealing with a cold, but he had to play because of the lack of depth, and him playing on a cold apparently aggravated his back. So he's right now nursing an Achilles tendon, a cold, and a bad back. I mean, I've said my piece before on how I think Vincent Kompany really has mishandled Kim Min-jae's minutes this year, playing him way too much. And this is a guy who people don't know. Kim Min-jae's always kind of been chronically hurt. I think he missed the 2018 World Cup. He would have missed the 2022 World Cup had it been in the summer. So I do worry about, yes, we'll talk about the fixture, but right now, guys, just from a career perspective, I'm really worried that Kim Min-jae, especially he's going to be 30 soon, homie ain't going to last very long, just as a professional footballer.
I mean, we talked about the Achilles, but it seems like there's a lot of things just mounting up. It's not just one thing. It's almost like his body, just in general, is failing him. Like he's being overused, and it's unfortunate, like you said, that the injuries they sustained are to positions where he would need some players to play for him to sit, and now they don't have that option. And going into the most important game of the season for them now against Inter is oh man. And out of all the matchups, I feel like this is the most evenly matched, especially now with Bayern's injuries. I feel like it's a real 50-50 type of matchup. Bayern still has a lot of offensive firepower as far as people up front, but I just really worry how they're going to play that high line that Kompany likes to play without the proper defenders. And if they're going to make adjustments, I don't know, because I've seen them make adjustments before. I forgot which match it was against Leverkusen, but they played really defensively and sat back one time. So I guess there is the option to do that, but I was leaning Bayern before the injuries, but now it's like I think Inter kind of has the upper hand and maybe the momentum. They probably have some confidence knowing that Bayern's missing some guys. So I don't know. I don't know how you guys see it, but it's a toss-up to me.
Albert, real quick, what's Bayern's backline going to look like for this match? What's your prediction on that?
Assuming that there are no more injuries, I believe probably you'll see Rafael Guerrero at left back. You'll see Kim Min-jae on the left side with Eric Dyer to his right. And then most likely Konrad Laimer will start at right back. Now, I mean, I'm okay with Laimer starting there, and Dyer, to be fair, has been serviceable. But again, can he pass well enough to withstand, what Vincent Kompany demands of his defenders? And honestly, Rafael Guerrero is a decent, serviceable squad player, but I think he's a bit more comfortable playing higher up. He's not really like a traditional left back who's going to be even defensively. I don't think he's as good as Alphonso Davies. And I think the reason Alphonso Davies is so key is because this high line is just perfect for him, right? He's probably one of the only left backs that can bomb up and down the field. So you lose not just his offensive ability, but his recovery speed. And really sadly, Hiroki Ito, right before he got injured that game, he was playing really well as a left back. He came on later in the game and then broke his foot again, which is just so heartbreaking. And yeah, I mean, that's probably the back line you're going to see. Now, you could maybe swap out someone like Josip Stanisic, who can play as a right back, but also play as a left back, but also play as a center back. But he's also kind of a utility player, kind of limited on the ball. So there are not a lot of good options. And if one more injury and this team really is screwed. I kind of agree with Paul, man. Like before these injuries occurred, I was gonna say, like I would still worry about Inter, but I still think this team's gonna go through. But now with like the loss of these three key players, I just don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be Guerrero, Min-jae, Dyer, and Limer probably if no one else gets hurt.
Doesn't inspire that much confidence actually. Like that's kind of a rough back line, especially for the style that he wants to play. I don't know. It could really be that the curse of Harry Kane continues. Like, when is this guy going to get a break where the injuries and the form all kind of lines up? It kind of seems like for him, he's been kind of cursed where just different moments have gotten to him where it's just like he has a chance to win a trophy and then it just goes away because of one bad luck, whether it's injury or someone losing form or a missed opportunity. Like, when is this guy ever going to win something like, because we know he's so motivated to do so, but it's just never going to happen, right?
I mean, they should win the league title.
They should, because Leverkusen are kind of imploding themselves right now. But again, it's
That's
only
true.
a 6-point gap, which, at this point of the season can be big. But dude, one slip up and it could go really wrong. And the problem with Bayern is they do have a tough schedule coming up. After the first leg against Inter, they're going to play Dortmund. And then after the second leg, they still got Leipzig, Gladbach, and Hoffenheim still on the schedule. So not really pushovers exactly. I'm going to try to be optimistic. I still think Bayern will win the league. Whether they'll beat Inter or even go far in the Champions League is another question. And if we're going to jump into predictions, guys, I still think there's enough attacking quality here for Bayern to squeak through, but I think this is going to be a very close game. First leg is going to be in the Allianz Arena. I think Bayern will take it probably maybe 2-1. And then the return leg in Italy, I could see Inter winning that by a goal or two, 1-0, and then if the math works out, I think this is probably one of the quarterfinal legs that goes to extra time. And I just think Bayern do have enough attacking options on the bench to squeak out a win, whether that's in penalties or extra time. So yeah, I'm going to go with Bayern, but a very close victory that requires more than the typical 90 minutes.
Not only, is Bayern dealing with those injuries, but Inter's been playing pretty good ball. I think them and Napoli are probably the two best in-form Italy teams right now, with AC Milan kind of falling apart and Juventus falling apart and all those guys, Atlanta falling apart. So those two teams are playing well. I've seen them enough now where they're pretty complete. Inter's not going to blow you away with firepower offensively, but they're a very complete team. They play organized, and everything looks right when you watch them play. Like, they're not special, but they're kind of like, I guess maybe like Aston Villa, I guess, in a sense, where they're just kind of trotting along, but they're playing well enough to be a threat. And I just think I worry about companies' inexperience in Champions League, especially playing that high line without the proper horses to do so. Min-jae not being 100%, I don't know how fast he's going to be to recover, if he's going to leak any goals in a die or two. But that's my concern, is that high line without the guys to run it. I feel like Inter's going to take advantage of that. They'll probably watch a lot of film on that and look to exploit it. The first leg is going to be a draw. I think it's going to be around like a 2-2-ish draw, and then they'll go back to Inter, and the Inter will take it.
BJ, you made a really good point about Vincent Kompany's inexperience in the Champions League. I mean, we saw this in the playoff round. They really struggled with Celtic, and Celtic had them on the ropes for a long period of that match. I mean, honestly, the squad fought back to get that win, but it would have been a huge shock for Celtic to go through in that match, and that would be a really inexperienced moment for Vincent Kompany. Can he do it? Can he overcome this again? I'm not sure. I'm going to pick against Harry Kane here. I think that maybe a very 1-1 draw in the first round, and then in Italy, I would say Inter's going to win 1-0.
I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but Neuer's out too.
That's right.
He has a calf injury that he re-aggravated. So Jonas Erbig is going to start the first leg for sure. I don't know if Neuer's going to be back for the second leg. Erbig is a good player. He's kind of tipped to be like the next Germany number 1, but again, he's 21. He's made a few mistakes already in some of the games he's played. I mean, I don't know. When's the last time we've seen when's the last time we've seen a really young goalie go deep in the Champions League too? I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna stick with my prediction, but I mean, the fact that you have an experienced goalie there is gonna, I think that will make Inter want to play more aggressively and just shoot from everywhere. Especially because I think Inzaghi's also a very good manager. If you talk about Kompany being green and inexperienced, he's the exact opposite. This is the dude that almost beat City in the final if Lukaku could hit the broadside of a barn door. So, and I couldn't get too mad if we lose, because it is Kompany's first season. And again, these injuries are so devastating. And honestly, from like a neutral perspective too, like, yeah, I want to see Bayern win, but like being able to see Barcelona and Real Madrid play in a Champions League final potentially would be amazing, I think, for the sport. So there's a little part of me that kind of wouldn't be too upset if we lost. But yeah, I mean, poor Harry Kane, but yeah, maybe that Tottenham curse really is a thing.